Marvel's Spider-Man. That's who that boy was. That was Marvel's Spider-Man. He is a Spider-Man. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna just take a look at what Sony Interactive Entertainment has. From Insomniac Games. A very familiar pre-screen. Now that's a huge deal. That is a big deal. Like, that being the intro screen, that is significant. Because so for folks who haven't seen that before, I don't know what non-Earth planet you have been living on, but that is the roll that we watch before every single Marvel movie. Arguably the single biggest venue for people to gain access to Marvel properties, right? That's a huge deal. And the fact that they chose to start this game with the Marvel logo presented that way means, get ready. This is going to be part of the universe you are familiar with. This is a tie-in to all this other shit you're already familiar with and comfortable with. And it may be, yeah, I think I can go out on a limb. And say that that's probably the most significant, like, corporate pre-screen I have ever seen in a video game. Like, it's huge because it immediately invites us to accept this game as part of an understood canon already. And I would be really surprised if this wasn't part of that timeline, because they just gave us that Marvel logo. Otherwise, they would have used its own thing. Yeah. Okay. So the game is set on Earth 1048. The movies are on a different Earth. Okay, but it says to us, like, this is the Spider-Man you are familiar with. This is a thing that you are going to recognize. I think it's a big deal. And someone in chat pointed out, it's like putting the 20th Century Fox theme or whatever, that logo, before a Star Wars game. It shifts it slightly. Yeah. So this is Marvel. This is Spider-Man. Interesting. I think the game's actual title is Marvel's Spider-Man. I'm not sure why we just get the, like, base red and white Marvel logo there. Yeah, I mean, I guess because the logo and then the S would be very confusing. You know, God, normally I hate them throwing extra logos on shit, but I think this title screen would suffer if it were just Spider-Man. Like, I really think that Marvel logo actually adds to the vibe. I think that this is the rare situation. Like, if we had seen the, like, Ubisoft logo or Insomniac presents Marvel's Spider-Man, then that'd be different. But there's something, I think, that like the Nike swoosh, which is the very first the Adidas stripes, the Marvel logo has transcended its own registered trademark ugliness and become a part of the graphic presentation of its titles. Like, that slightly orange Marvel red and that presentation of the logo is 100% like an additive to the aesthetic of this title screen. It's weird. I do not know how we got to this place, but it's very cool that Marvel has been able to. That's a big success for a brand, right? That's a huge success to be able to present its corporate trade dressing as aesthetic. Big deal, right? So the title font itself, not to me anyway, not a recognizable Spider-Man logo, right? Like, there have been decades of Spider-Man logos, right? The one in the web, the kind of the much more drop shadowy, like, arced one. This implies to me this is a Spider-Man that isn't quite what we've seen before necessarily. So that's interesting. The font choice itself is sort of whatever. I like the hooks on the knife blade edge on the I and the R dip below the line of the rest of the letters. That's something that I like. That's just a personal aesthetic appeal for me. Like I'm into colored drop shadows. I like that 3D effect, and I like dropped lettering like that. I think that's quite cool. And then take note, everyone who has ever considered designing a title screen, for the love of Christ, look at that press X to start. Look at it. Japanese game developers, please choose a font that fits with your game's title screen. Don't just go with the fucking Capcom Resident Evil press to start. Don't be From Software. Don't do it. Do this. That font was chosen on purpose. Right? And I love, can we just talk about this? I love the color palette simplicity. The warmth on this screen, the fact that it's sunrise or sunset. It gives us this nice golden look, this photographic look. Notice by Spider-Man's face, there's lens flare, which immediately gives us a sense of we're looking at this from a like real world perspective, even if it's a superhero thing. And there's a very limited palette, even in the titling, right? Orange, red, and blue. Orange, red, and blue. And the orange is like sepia, and orange, red, and blue, and then highlighted with obviously black and white, right? Shades of gray. But I love, and this is such a great choice, the X button to start. The X button to start is blue. So it fits with the palette and really draws your eyes to your action thing. You're supposed to press X to start. Now, if it just said press anything to start or press a key to start or whatever, that would blend in better. But I know by looking at this isolated blue target marker out in the middle of an open space, in the middle of a sentence, right there where the title is, it very much implies like get started, like do the thing, and it fits in nicely. It doesn't break it. We don't have like a hot pink square or a green triangle there. It fits in nicely with the palette of the screen. Honestly, I think that this would make a better still. I don't really like Spider-Man's Street Fighter idling pose here. It's not teaching me anything about Spider-Man except that he has to breathe and that he likes to look back and forth. And we could learn that he's on the lookout, like protecting the city, right? We would learn that if there, just pause there. We just have him looking out over the city. We don't need him looking back and forth. We get that this game is gonna be in 3D. Like I'm aware it'll be fine. That's okay. I don't need Spider-Man looking back and forth and fidgeting around like this. I think it's fine to have him in still. I don't think it adds anything. I don't think it detracts either. Like, I'm not frustrated or bothered by it. I just don't think that it really needs to be there in this case. I don't think it adds anything. I will say though, the lighting is great, right? Like that background, I don't think the background is dynamically lit, but I do really like that Spider-Man takes full advantage of the lighting. And honestly, in a game about a protagonist who is also a photographer, if you don't do the lighting well, you're missing out on the theme of the game, right? Part of Spider-Man's jam is his ability to be an observer, right? The fact that he observes the world around him. He's a photographer, right? He knows what to look for in the world. We know from the game's promotion that there is photography in this game. So having a good reinforcing light structure shows us that the game understands the character's themes. Even the sub-themes, right? Even the lower level stuff. So I think that's really cool. So keep an eye on what does the light draw your attention to here and how, right? It's up in the top corner, up there, which is where Spider-Man is, right? It pulls us to Spider-Man. The light also shines on his logo. We get the brand reinforced. We get his spider chest logo. Also, that suit is so tight. Look at his abs. Look. It goes right into his belly button. Damn, Spider-Man. Damn. You think with a suit that tight, though, there'd be a little bit more going on in the junk region, but I'm not going to judge. It's in the shadows. That's fine. He's got that tastefully positioned leg to keep his crotch hidden in shadows. But, like, if the suit's that tight... yes, but there'd still be a There'd be a shape that, look, we're not here to talk about Spider-Man's groin, all right? The point is, the white on his suit and the silver on his suit give us something to draw our eyes to. And the reflectiveness on the eye cups on his mask, even if he's faced away or towards, as he turns his head back and forth, we're getting a reflection off the eye. It pulls us to his face. The lens flare helps with that. Notice that the flare is on his face too. So it pulls our eyes towards that. So very cool use of light. I like that. It's got this nice flow from Spider-Man across, and it's this rare example of an image that works left and right. You can start with Spider-Man, you can read Spider-Man to his arm, see the logo, right? Think about flow. We talk about flow, like visual flow in imaging all the time, and especially in title screens. What are we supposed to look at? We read left to right, so we start with the S, we work across, and then bam, we get hit with that logo, Spider-Man's face, he's ready, he's in action mode. One thing I think that is a bit incongruous about this title screen is the white building. Like, it's sticking out in a way that doesn't make sense. And I imagine the game will explain it. Like, I have to assume that it's a game-relevant object, but why is it that color? Like, everything else is like New York brick color, but then that one building is not. So what is it? Yeah, what is it gonna be? And it's right in the middle too. Like, it really breaks up the flow of the building. So like, what's the deal? Why is that a point of attention? And if it's an actual building in New York, if it's there to tell us this is set in New York, that is the worst choice they could have made. There are so many more buildings in New York that will let you know, hi, this is set in New York City, right? If it was the Avengers HQ or it was Stark Tower, they would put a logo on it. Right now, it's just a gray obelisk. So it's like, if it's trying to entice me, if I'm supposed to be like, I wonder what that building is, you better show me in the game. But if I'm not, why is that a different color? Like, why not just make it a regular ass building? Yeah. So I don't know. It just seems off to me. Like, if I'm supposed to have information already, then make it clear. But if I'm not, it's a weird way to like, why is it a building? You could show me something different if you wanted to hint at the future of the game, right? Keep in mind the way that Yakuza did this. Yakuza's title screen was a weird alley. Yakuza's title screen was all that. It was like, who knows what this is? It's nothing. If you don't already know, this is going to be a mystery. This building, not a mystery to me. Just kind of like a weird obelisk. Now, before we start the game, we do of course have to listen to the soundtrack. Soundtrack's an important part of the title screen. Very cinematic. Very opening credits. Fits right in with the Marvel Cinematic Universe style. Certainly not quirky or kooky, right? This is the modern iteration of Spider-Man. This isn't a goofy game about funny Spider-Man. This is like a cinematic Marvel Universe style, right? It's those Batman the Animated Series trumpets. It's the opening credit sequence violins, and then the choir, right? It's all very much like a movie. And a specific kind of like modern action movie, which I think is cool. I think it's a great choice. Pummeling us with French horns, giving us this kind of inspired start. This like, yeah, it's gonna be great. Like, here we go. We're gonna go do something. We're gonna jump into an adventure, and it's gonna be a very particular kind of adventure. So let's find out what Marvel Spider-Man has to offer. Let's start a new game.